Riley Kopp, and with me today is my friend Sebastian Soriano. We're going to do a little quick interview for our faith class. So, Sebastian, do you think the church is important?
I mean, like, they low-key important. Like, some people sleep on them, but, like, they're important.
Good answer. Does anyone influence your beliefs?
Sometimes my mom, when I say, "Oh my God," in the car, and she smacks me and she said,
So you
"That's
use
not what
the Lord's name in vain.
Yeah. So, like, she influences me to be,
Do you ask for forgiveness?
I mean, sometimes.
Okay. How does going to church influence your daily life?
I don't go to church.
Interesting. How is going to church oh, never mind. Who has influenced you to join/remain in the church?
I mean, my mom makes me. She beats me if I try to leave.
Okay. Does the church give you a sense of community? Like you don't feel alone?
No, it doesn't. They make me feel completely alone. They make me sometimes sad, depressed. Sometimes I cry, but that's another story.
I'm very disappointed to hear that, but thank you for being with us today.
Do you think the church is important?
I mean, the church is where you go to pray, and that's where you get closer to God and make a bigger connection to Him. So I think, yeah, it's pretty important in order to like make a better connection and get closer to Him.
Does anyone influence your beliefs?
My parents and grandparents, they're the ones that taught me how to pray, so they're the ones that influenced it the most.
How does going to church influence your life?
I mean, that's where I get to pray. That's where I get to ask for things and forgiveness and stuff. So yeah, for sure, it's influenced.
Has going to church caused you to change your way of life?
Yeah, because now every Sunday I go to church. I go to the Spanish Mass, so that's a different change of pace. And also I've gone closer to God by going to church.
Who influenced you to join/remain in the church?
I mean, my parents were the biggest influence, probably. They were the ones who would always drive me to go to church, and they're the ones that enforced going and praying and all of that.
Does the church give you a sense of community?
Yeah, it gives sort of like a family, like people you can rely on, and God is like the person you can rely on the most. So it's a whole big community of family and friends.
Do you think the church is important?
Yes.
Does anyone influence your beliefs?
Not anymore.
How does going to church influence your life?
It doesn't influence my life.
Has going to church caused you to change your way of life?
Yes.
Who influenced you to join or remain in the church?
Nobody influenced me.
Does the church give you a sense of community?
No.
This quote relates to our interviews because each person had different answers to the questions and different opinions of the church. This demonstrates the individuality God has given us in order to make our own decisions that affect our day-to-day lives and relationship with Him. This quote relates to our interviews because some of the people were influenced to join and remain in the church by their family members, but over time they left and did what they found most convenient for them and their beliefs. 3 things that I learned from the interviews are that people hold very different views of the church. Just because your parents have a certain belief doesn't necessarily mean you share that, and that age is a large factor that determines the responses. Some similarities in the interviews are that everyone found the church important and everyone was a believer. Differences were that not everyone was influenced to join the church did not influence them or their daily life, and not everyone felt a sense of community within the church. The interview responses that surprised me the most were some people aren't influenced by others to join the church. It is not often that people make their own choices to join. What also surprised me is how people do not find the church as a community, because we are meant to be there for each other and be one in the body of Christ.
The things I learned were that the church does not influence everyone's beliefs, it also does not change everyone's way of life, and not everyone finds a sense of community in the church. Similarity is that everyone believed in the church, and a difference was that not everyone had someone that influenced them to join the church. What surprised me was that how not everyone had someone that influenced them to join or stay in the church.
3 things I've learned from my interviews is that not all people are as close to God as I thought they were. It greatly disappointed me when I learned this. Another thing I learned was that we all can improve on our spiritual relationship with God. We don't have a perfect relationship, and we will never be perfect because we are not God. The last thing I learned is that God loves everybody, no matter what. Even if you're not close to them, He still loves you and encourages you to become one of His followers. Some similarities I noticed was that the families that brought their kids up in a religious household, the turnout of their kids to experience life with God was way higher. However, there was one incident where my friend Soriano did become raised in a household, but even though Sori was raised in a somewhat religious household, it disappointed me to see him not turn out as religious as I am. I'd have to say what surprised me the most in general is that people didn't believe in God at all. I don't know how you could go by life thinking that 2 planets crashed into each other, creating all of mankind and all of the stars in the universe and the Milky Way and all of the organisms throughout our entire universe. So, a bit confused.